Hi guys, my name is Shay, and I decided to make a YouTube channel because as a young black person, I've gone through like a lot of different things, and I just kind of wanted to talk about those things so like other young people that are going through these things, they can know like that's okay and that they're not the only person that goes through these things. So like to get started and to let you guys know a little bit more about myself, I'm 28 years old. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm currently married, but I think I'm going through like a separation, which I can talk about that later in another video. But I just basically wanted to talk about like a couple years ago when I had found out I had a brain tumor, just to let people know, because I've been seeing like more and more things about brain tumors and how they're becoming more popular. So when I was about 26, I had started getting like these really bad headaches. And I had been having headaches before, but because the type of job that I had, I just thought I was stressed out from work. But during the year 2016, I just kept getting like really bad headaches. And I even like would throw up, and I just like felt sick going to work. And it was just an ongoing thing. So I like used to get sinus infections really bad. And I just kind of thought that like, oh, it's just a sinus infection, like I'll be okay. And so like time just like kind of kept going by, and it just kind of kept getting worse and worse and worse. And then so like one weekend I was off work and I got really sick and I wasn't keeping any food down. So I ended up going to the urgent care. When I went to the urgent care, they told me that I had acid reflux. So like that means I can't have ketchup, orange juice, like anything with acid. And so like I got on this medicine and I was able to eat like some of the foods that I wasn't able to eat. But then like a couple weeks later, I like started getting dizzy. I was blacking out, still having these like headaches. Like they were bad headaches. Like I used to have to go to work and I would have to sit in the dark at work. So all this was going on. And one night I remember I went to go see one of my in-laws at the hospital. And then I noticed that like I was like lightheaded and I couldn't walk. And before this, I had like blacked out. I had fell out the shower one day. Like I was just like going through all these different things, but I didn't know like what it was. So then this night we get home, I go to sleep, and then I end up waking up in the middle of the night and I had lost feeling in my arms. And I was like telling my girlfriend at the time, like, oh, I think something is wrong. We should really go to the hospital. And it was just like crazy because we're going back to the hospital, but I had been going to that same hospital that whole week, like prior, like 4 days before. So when I went back this final day, they're like, oh, you're back again. How is everything going? So I was like letting them know that, like things are getting worse. And they're like, oh, maybe we should do like an MRI. So we do the MRI or whatever. And then, of course, they found out I have a brain tumor. So, like, the way they said it, they just said I had a mass on my brain. And at the time, like, I was so young, I was just like, okay, maybe this is just, like, something small. So they told me I was going to be going to the hospital. So they transferred me to a hospital. And when I got to the hospital, they're, like, telling me, like, it's a good thing I went to the hospital because I could have had a stroke. So when they told me that, I was like, okay, this is probably something serious. But I still was just thinking like, okay, I'm going to stay in the hospital for a couple of days and I'm going to turn back to work. Then when I got to the hospital, I met my neurologist and he was like, oh, you have a brain tumor. Like you're going to have to have surgery. But like I had so much fluid on my brain, I actually had to get this thing called a shunt in my head. It's so like fluid can flow in my brain correctly, and like so I won't get any like pressure and my brain won't swell up. So in order for me to get that, they had to drill a hole like right here, and then I had to get the shunt in place, and I had a drain like coming down in the front, and I had to get all that fluid out of my brain before I had surgery. So all this happened, and then like 2 weeks later, I had to have my surgery. And in the process of like everything, I was just hooked up in the hospital. They were like giving me meds. I didn't like, it was days where I didn't even know where I was. I just was like so out of it. So by the time like my surgery came around, I was really happy because I knew like this was going to be it. Like I wasn't going to have headaches anymore. Like I just knew like I was going to be normal again. So then after my surgery comes, I was a little shocked because I couldn't talk, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything like I used to do. And I remember the night I woke up from my surgery, I had woke up and I was really hungry. So I was like telling my family like, oh, I'm hungry, I want to eat. I was telling the nurse everything. So my family was like telling the nurse like, oh, you know, let's get her some applesauce. So I ended up getting the applesauce, but I ended up aspirating. So when I aspirated, they had to give me a trach, and that's why I have this scar right here on my neck. So they gave me a trach, and I had the trach. I don't really know how long I had the trach for because I was like on medicine so heavy. I have no idea like what was going on. So I had the trach. And by the time I like realized like what was going on, like it was like probably like a week or so after everything happened, and I was like, wow, I have like a hole in my neck. So I had the trach for a little while, and I had to like pass some tests to get it out. And I ended up going to like a rehab doctor, like a rehab place, and they helped me, and I like did physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy every day for like a month and a half, 2 months. So altogether, I stayed in the hospital for like 3.5 months. So I ended up coming out of the hospital. I went to the hospital in January, and I came home in like March. And before I left, my doctor told me that this whole process was going to be like a long time. Like it could take up to 5 years for me to fully recover from this. And like in this time, like it's been hard because I can't do anything. Like I can't eat, I can't drive, like I'm walking, but it was a point where I couldn't walk that good. Like it's just crazy because now I'm 29, and I just like kind of feel like sometimes I just want my old life back. And it just makes you think like you should cherish like every day like it's your last day, because you never know what's gonna happen. And like that's how I felt. Like I felt like I was just living my life, having so much fun, and then this happened. It's like everything. And then like the fact I have to depend on people, because I'm like a very independent person. I don't like to ask anybody for anything. And so like being like this is just like really hard. And then like your personality changes because you get so down on the situation and you're not able to do the things that you know that you can do. And like the more videos I make, I'm gonna tell y'all more and more about like my hospital stay and like my recovery like over time, like when I came home. But I just want to start this video and let you guys know that like it's okay, like things like this happen, and I see more and more young people with this same condition, and maybe they don't know like how to cope with it, like, but it's ways to cope with it. And so I just kind of want to make this video and let you guys know like my life story and everything that's going on with me. And so just be on the lookout. I'm going to make another video, and you can see and you'll find out more and more about me as I make more videos.